if you're going to actually fill out this form 8829, what you have to do is still calculate the area of your home office, but you also need to know the total area of your house in square footage. So then you're basically going to take these two numbers where you take your home office area and you divide that by the area of your house, and you'll end up with a percentage. So then you go through part 2 of this particular form and you list the expenses that you have. If it is a split expense, something that you have both for personal use and for business use, like internet connection or the rent that you pay on your house, for example, those are all what's known as indirect expenses. If it was something just for your business, then those would be direct expenses. And that's used in the calculation because that percentage really only applies to your indirect expenses. So just as a wild example, let's say over the course of the entire year, let's say you've paid $10,000 in rent on the house that you live in, which is honestly not a very unreasonable rent amount. And I live in probably one of the cheaper states in the entire country for rent. So that may even be an understatement for a lot of you guys. This can be for a house, an apartment. It really doesn't matter. That $10,000, if you were using 20% of the square footage in your house or apartment for your home office, then you're going to end up with a deduction of 20% of that rent value. So for $10,000 worth of rent, you would end up with a $2,000 deduction. And that comes straight off of your taxable income. And this type of deduction can really, really reduce your tax liability once you start making money with your internet business. Because otherwise, you end up paying out more taxes because of the self-employment taxes that you're having to pay double instead of having an employer to match it for you. That kind of gets offset here by these additional deductions. Now the same type of thing here, how I was just describing it working for a rent payment, for example, it could also still work for a mortgage if you own your home instead. However, you're really just going to be able to deduct interest on your mortgage and not necessarily what you're paying on your house itself. But then you still have things that are going to apply to anybody that has a home office, and that would be your utilities.